Welcome to this elite masterclass on elevating your facility maintenance from a basic everyday understanding to absolute professional mastery in commercial floor scrubber deployment. Listen, today we're not just talking about cleaning floors, we are dissecting high-level operational strategy, capital asset management, and the precise workflows that literally separate world-class facilities from the rest of the pack. Our goal here is simple, to equip you with highly actionable professional frameworks. No fluff, just the exact strategies you need. So let's get right into it. Here is the curriculum we're going to master today. We'll start with the economics of floor scrubbers, move into equipment selection and tooling, then cover operational mastery and execution, troubleshooting streaks in performance, and finally, maintenance and asset preservation. Module 1. The economics of floor scrubbers. Let's master those facility costs.
The absolute, unavoidable reality of commercial floor cleaning is that labor accounts for a staggering 60 to 80% of your total costs. And honestly, most facilities dramatically undercount this because they're only looking at the base wage. Instead, we have to use what's called the loaded labor rate multiplier, which sits right between 1.35 and 1.45. To put that into perspective, a base wage of $19 an hour actually costs your organization roughly $26 to $28 per hour once you factor in FICA, unemployment insurance, high-risk workers' comp, benefits, and paid time off.
And this brings us to the massive financial ROI of autonomous floor scrubbers. When you deploy these robots strategically in large repetitive spaces, one unit can offset approximately one full-time floor tech. That achieves a typical capital payback period of just 9 to 18 months. But here's the real game changer. The most elite execution of this strategy is deploying them for overnight cleaning. Doing this entirely eliminates the need for that premium overnight shift labor, and it allows you to redeploy your human staff to high-value, complex tasks during the day.
So how do we actually acquire these assets? You generally have three financial structures. A capital purchase requires the highest upfront cash, but for sure yields the strongest long-term ROI for stable facilities. An equipment lease lowers your upfront spend and gives you predictable payments, though keep in mind service is usually handled separately. Finally, robotics as a service, or RaaS, shifts the whole shebang to an operating expense with bundled support. That makes it absolutely ideal for modern operations that prioritize simplicity and single-point accountability.
Module 2. Equipment selection and tooling. Let's talk about choosing the right gear.
You know, a machine that's perfectly suited for a heavy industrial plant is going to be a complete disaster in a crowded retail aisle. That's why we must compare the two primary machine formats. Ride-on scrubbers are built for heavy-duty, multi-shift deep cleaning. They've got higher brush motor power, wider scrub decks, and they're absolutely essential for large open areas where you need fatigue-free, continuous operation. Walk-behind scrubbers, conversely, win on upfront affordability. They give you superior visibility and precise control in close quarters, which makes them the absolute right choice for tight, crowded spaces or lighter commercial floor care.
But remember, the machine is really only as good as the tooling beneath it. Brushes offer exceptional durability and they're a fantastic long-term investment. While they do have a higher upfront cost, a heavy-duty polypropylene or grip brush is completely unmatched for rough concrete or deep grout lines. Floor pads, on the other hand, well, they're disposable and highly versatile. You select them based on the exact level of aggressiveness you need for smoother floors and delicate finishes. Now, if you're using pads, there is a rigid professional framework you must follow, the color coding system. It starts with white for non-aggressive, high-gloss polishing. Red is for your light scrubbing, and blue is the standard for everyday commercial cleaning. When you need to move to deep, heavy-duty scrubbing, you graduate to green. And finally, brown and black pads are the absolute most aggressive tools in your arsenal. They are reserved strictly for stripping old floor finishes. Matching the right pad to your floor finish is non-negotiable if you want to prevent costly damage.
Module 3. Operational Mastery and Execution. Getting into precise technique.
Mechanized cleaning is not like running a manual mop. It requires absolute precision. Here is the elite 5-step operational framework you need to train your teams on. Step 1 is the startup pre-check, meaning you verify battery charge and inspect components. Step 2 is paramount. You must move in straight, overlapping lanes at a consistent walking speed to avoid leaving missed strips. Step 3 involves applying controlled brush pressure and exact chemical dilution. Step 4 ensures immediate water recovery through the vacuum system. And finally, Step 5 mandates proper completion, which simply means immediately draining the recovery tanks.
Module 4. Troubleshooting streaks and performance. Fixing those common issues.
Even with perfect technique, issues are going to pop up in the field. The single most common operational failure: dirty water streaks left behind on the floor. Look, if an operator looks back and sees streaks, that entire pass has been compromised. We have to ask this critical diagnostic question. Why is the scrubber leaving streaks? And to answer this, we don't guess. We systematically apply a professional troubleshooting checklist.
Streaking simply means the machine is failing to recover water, and the squeegee is your final line of defense. First, you have to inspect the blades for cuts or debris. Keep in mind they need to be flipped or replaced every 3 to 6 months. Next, verify the squeegee pressure against the floor. If the squeegee is in perfect shape, check your solution because too much chemical causes foaming and streaks. Finally, look at the vacuum system. A full recovery tank or a clogged vacuum filter will immediately choke off suction, literally leaving water right there on the floor.
Module 5, Maintenance and Asset Preservation. Time to protect that investment.
Purchasing a commercial floor scrubber is a massive capital investment, and it requires absolute discipline. Operations directors must strictly enforce this maintenance schedule. Daily maintenance is completely non-negotiable. Empty the tanks, rinse them, and inspect brushes for wear. Weekly, your teams need to deep clean the vacuum systems, check the hoses for blockages, and verify suction strength. Then, quarterly and semi-annually, you conduct deep maintenance. This means replacing worn squeegee blades, swapping out seals, and running full system diagnostics to predict and prevent any component failures.
Now, here is the most commonly skipped step: tank sanitization. Skipping this breeds a shocking amount of bacteria. It'll leave you with a recovery tank that smells worse than a high school locker room, and eventually it chokes your vacuum motor with biosludge. The rule here is incredibly simple. Drain it completely, use an EPA-approved disinfectant, and, this is crucial, prop the lids open to let them air dry. Proper ventilation prevents mold and significantly extends the life of your equipment.
Finally, we must secure the power source. Maximizing battery life is literally the only way to ensure these machines hit their maximum runtime capabilities. Operators have to plug the machine in after every single use, because starting with a partial charge destroys battery longevity over time. You also need to regularly tighten loose connections and clean away any corrosion. Furthermore, always store and charge batteries in a cool, dry environment to prevent extreme temperatures from causing a total unit failure. To conclude our core curriculum, I want you to remember this. Purchasing the machine is just step one. True facility mastery is achieved when you seamlessly optimize those loaded labor costs, aggressively preserve your capital assets through rigorous maintenance, and systematically eliminate operational friction on the floor. When you execute this correctly, mechanized and autonomous scrubbing completely transforms your financial standing and your output quality.
I'm going to leave you with a final provocative thought. Take a hard look at your own facilities tonight. Are your current floor care operations quietly draining your budget through inefficient manual labor and broken equipment? Or are your systems engineered to permanently eliminate your highest labor costs while delivering absolute consistency? Apply the frameworks from this masterclass and take real control of your facility's operational future.